Good morning, St. Francis. It is April the 8th, 2021. It is Thursday in the octave of Easter. It is Easter Thursday, the 5th day of Easter. Coming to you back in Raleigh from the Columbarium. I didn't get a chance to do that on Holy Saturday. So here we are in the Columbarium today, the place where death gives way to life. Again, still recounting the resurrection, still recounting the appearances of Jesus that he makes in the Gospels after rising from the dead. And here's a continuation of Luke's Gospel, which yesterday was the two apostles walking to Emmaus and realizing it is him. Now back in Jerusalem, they begin to talk about everything that happened along the way to Emmaus and how Jesus was recognized in the breaking of the bread. And then all of a sudden, Jesus appears before them. And in Luke's Gospel, it is remarkably earthy. It is remarkably temporal, how basically Jesus makes this appearance. Yes, he appears out of nowhere, but he says, "Touch me and see that I have flesh and bones and I'm not a ghost." And then he asks for something to eat. And he takes the piece of baked fish and he eats it in their presence because they just can't believe that what Jesus said would happen, happened, or that God could deliver someone from utter destruction into a new and incredible life. And then Jesus goes on again to explain to them, as he did to the two apostles walking to Emmaus, just what has to happen sometimes, or what had to happen in this case, that again, death gives way to life, that the Messiah appears, he gives what needs to be heard. Those who do not hear it want him to be put away, want him to be put to the margins, want to be rid of him, to get rid of him basically for the sake of peace and quietness, or the name of peace and quietness. And yet God's purpose will not be foiled. God's design will not come to nothing. God will succeed and achieve in the end. And then Jesus says, basically, remember that you are witnesses of all of this. Now, he speaks that to the apostles in the gospel, and yes, they can be witnesses to all of this because they walked and talked with him, and they saw him they saw him risen from the dead. They didn't see him rise from the dead, but they saw him risen from the dead. He has appeared to them, etc. But it's not just them that Jesus is talking about being witnesses. Jesus is talking to all of us who continue to believe, who have believed over, again, millennia, 2 millennia, and going on to a 3rd millennia, in fact. We are witnesses of all of these things that Jesus said and did. Even though we are separated, by 2,000 plus years, we are still witnesses of this. And how do we become, witnesses? What does it mean to be a witness of all of this? Well, again, it means, to act in those behaviors, in those ways, and those attitudes that are the Sermon on the Plain. To be people who are able to love, to forgive, to give, to be merciful, and to not judge in a way that no one else in the world can be, or that no one else, by just listening to the world, could ever understand or ever undertake. We live, we love, we forgive, we give, we are merciful, and we are non-judgmental because we are inspired by something more than just ourselves. We are inspired by something more, than just what the world and society and culture give us. And because of that, we do not give up. We do not just endure, we persevere. We move through life confident that there is a God who cares about us, a God who nurtures us, a God who leads us, a God who loves us. Even when it seems too good to be true, even when it seems too ridiculous to hope in, even when it seems too tragic and despairing to believe in, we are still called to be witnesses of this always. Because if we are not, then faith is vain. And basically all that we do is in vain. And all that we undertake and say that we are as believers in this world comes to nothing. To be a witness to Christ's resurrection is to be and act in this world, recognizing always that God brought Jesus back from the dead, and that changes the course of history, changes the course of everything we could ever hope or believe in, changes the course of who and what we are destined to be as human beings. That kind of faith and trust is not something supernatural, but is something that resides in each of us, which this Easter season asks us to unlock, to embrace, and to live. A glorious Easter, St. Francis. May the Lord continue to give you his peace.